Students, welcome to another Mr. Ness screencast. Today's aim is Fordism, and here are your objectives. Please pause the video, look these questions over, and get ready to copy some vocab terms and take some notes. So in the next few lessons, you are going to learn about the golden age of American manufacturing, which took place from the late 1800s to the mid-1900s. Fordist production, also called Fordism, refers to a certain method of industrial mass production that was pioneered by this man, Henry Ford, at the beginning of the 1900s. Fordist production is a specific philosophy about how to best manufacture goods. And it's important because it was the prevailing approach to manufacturing in the United States during the first half of the 1900s, when American manufacturing was at its peak. Ford's ideas shaped U.S. society at this time in many ways. Now let's look at some characteristics that made Ford's ideas unique. The first is the manufacturing of identical goods. This picture shows Ford's Model T, the first car that the average American could afford. Every Model T car looked alike. They only came in one color, which was black. Ford believed that standardizing his products would allow him to accomplish his goal of making huge numbers of affordable goods. He also paid his workers a living wage, believing that if workers could afford to buy the products that they produced, it would create a virtuous cycle of economic growth. The second characteristic is a technique that Ford introduced called the assembly line. In an assembly line, unskilled workers each perform just one single task before the product moves on to the next worker. So in this picture, this man is screwing on a tire, and he will do that all day long. That's the only task that he will do. And then the car will move down the line to the next worker who will perform a different task. Assembly line production requires that all parts of the manufacturing process be located in a single building. So every step of this car making process took place in one factory. The last characteristic is called vertical integration. Take a moment to add that to your definition of Fordist production, and then take a look at what vertical integration means. It's the next word on your sheet. So vertical integration is when a company has control over all steps of production. In addition to its actual car factories, the Ford Motor Company also owned several coal mines, thousands of acres of forests for wood, and a fleet of freight ships, and even its own railroad that Ford used to ship raw materials from their source to his factory. Vertical integration means that a company is highly centralized. One single person, the CEO of the company, controls lots of different tasks, and all the workers who do those tasks are working for that one person and that one company. The Ford Motor Company was one of these companies, but there were dozens of big American manufacturers in the early 1900s that were organized in the same way. So these companies were big. They employed a lot of people, and they produced a lot of goods. The last thing I want to look at today is the region of the U.S. where all the manufacturing took place. Take a look at this map. With some exceptions, the states that border the Great Lakes are the heartland of American manufacturing. This entire region was rich in raw materials, and it had great access to markets via shipping on the Great Lakes. Here is Michigan, and here's Detroit, which is where Henry Ford started his car company. Take a moment and identify some other states that were centers of American manufacturing. Remember, it's all the states that touch the Great Lakes. And now it's time to review the objectives. If you don't know the answer to any of them, just rewind the video and look again. And I will see you in class. Bye, students.